Alright, welcome to Chapter 11, Offenses Against Public Health and Environment. And really this video just serves as an overview of what you're going to be looking at this week. So hopefully you have an understanding of common law crimes. We cover that in CRJ 115, Criminal Law 1. But unlike common law crimes, offenses against the public health and environment are really defined by different statutes that have been enacted by the federal and state legislatures. Now, while they're not faced with the severe environmental problems of our age, really the common law did regard certain wildlife, game, and fish as resources that needed to be preserved. So in the United States, really the state and federal government have for many, many years enacted regulations and imposed criminal sanctions on poachers to help protect those resources for the benefit of the public. Now, there are many offenses related to public health that were really developed during the Industrial Revolution as a result of the widespread distribution of food, drugs, and cosmetics, and really the need to help control the communicable diseases. Now, by the early 1900s, municipalities really perceived the need for zoning to help really kind of control nuisances and to regulate different land use. So since the middle of this century now, pollution of the ground, water, and air has been recognized as one of the major threats to the health and welfare of people, and even to the ecological balance of the earth as a whole. So enforcement of regulations in those different fields really is accomplished by, or for the most part, by regulatory agencies and through different measures that impose civil liability. Regardless, legislatures have really found it necessary to impose criminal sanctions to effectively enforce those standards and hopefully deter potential violators. Now, in contrast to the typical common law crimes, there are many offenses against the public health and environment that really consist of a person's neglect to comply with certain required standards or the failure to take action required by law. Now, these are what we call mala prohibita offenses, which basically means that an action is wrong because it's prohibited by law. And there's also statutes that criminalize conduct in those areas that generally contemplates a lower level of intent, which really frequently imposes a standard of strict liability. So after reading this chapter, you should be able to explain a few things. One of those is why government has criminalized offenses against the public health and the natural environment. The second is that why most offenses in the area don't have really any antecedents in English common law. Third, why a lot of offenses in this particular area historically have been strict liability crimes, and why laws carrying the most severe penalties usually include some form of mens rea requirement, which is the intent requirement. Also, fourthly, why do we hold corporations and corporate officers responsible or liable for certain environmental offenses? And finally, number 5, how and why responsibility for protecting public health and the environment is really distributed amongst the different federal, state, and local governments. So that's it for Chapter 11. Next week we'll take a look at Chapter 12, which explores offenses against public order, safety, and national security.